4-year-old reveals dad's secret to his teacher, who immediately calls her boss to request time off. This child's father never suspected his son to speak so candidly to his elementary school teacher, who usually didn't hear many intimate details of the lives of her students' parents. She was shocked by what she heard and immediately called the father to inquire if what she heard was true. This is Nancy Bleur. Her students call her Miss Nancy. She's a preschool teacher at Charlie Brown Preschool and Childcare in Mason City. Some people think that being a teacher is a pretty easy job, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Nancy has to take care of dozens of children every day, and sometimes that includes hearing an earful about every detail of their lives. This is Camden. He's 4. What a smile. But one day in class, that smile was gone. Something was wrong, and Nancy could tell immediately that Camden wasn't his usual chipper self. It's normal for a kid to have a bad day or two, but when Camden's mood didn't improve after a few days, Nancy knew that she needed to find out what was the matter with Camden. After a few days of Camden's sour mood, Nancy pulled him aside and asked what was going on. What Camden had to say was shocking. He told Nancy that he used to have a lot of fun outings with his father. The two of them went out for dinner together, visited amusement parks on the weekend, and watched their favorite movies like Frozen and Moana after school. But the young boy noted all of that would have to come to an end soon. Why did Camden think that was the case? Camden continued to talk about how he would soon have no more time with his dad, and how worried he was about his father's future. What could have been going on at home that would cause Camden's father to leave his family? Nancy could have let it go, but she didn't. She decided to call Camden's father, Daryl Peterson, and get to the bottom of things. Nancy called Daryl to inquire about his son, but what she would find out from him would cause her to not only finally understand what Camden was trying to tell her, but inspire her to take an extended leave from her job. What Daryl told Nancy was that he was sick, and not just with the flu or cold. Daryl had been diagnosed with a life-threatening disease called IgA neuropathy. It's also known as Buerger's disease. With IgA, immunoglobulin A builds up in the kidneys. This leads to inflammation that can cause tissue damage and ultimately lead to death. This upset Nancy so much that she immediately called her boss. Daryl was diagnosed in 2010. By 2016, things were getting serious. He ended up in the ER, and upon following up with his doctor, he noticed something. Something that would make Nancy request some time off immediately after she found out about it. Daryl's hemoglobin count was low. His doctor sent him for a biopsy, which revealed that he had 20% kidney function. His kidney failure was so serious that he may need a transplant to save his life. And that is just where Nancy comes in. Daryl was hospitalized for a week and immediately had to go on dialysis. He was getting treatments 3 days a week for 4 hours a day when Camden let his teacher know what was going on after his upset outbursts at school. But what could his teacher do about his father's life-threatening condition? Daryl would need a kidney transplant. Friends tried to help, but it didn't work out. I had friends and family come forward who wanted to donate, but these didn't work out for medical reasons or other reasons, he said. Peterson was placed on a waiting list for a transplant. He was warned it could take months, even years, to find a donor. When Nancy heard Daryl's story, she simply thought, no wonder little Camden was so worried. But what she did next was truly astounding. Bleur wanted to donate her kidney to Camden's father and save his life. She immediately called her boss for time off so she could find out if she was a viable match. She was like, I want to donate. What do I have to do? Said Daryl. He was floored. But to Nancy, it made sense. I had a coworker who, years ago, had donated a kidney to someone in her church, she said. It was after that event that Nancy put donating a kidney on her bucket list. It was an important part of her life's journey, and that was inspirational to me, continued Nancy. When I heard about Daryl and Camden's situation, it just felt like the right thing to do. The offer was beyond generous. How was Peterson going to respond? At first, he was unsure whether to accept it. Daryl gave in after he was met with Nancy's insistence. But her journey was only just the beginning. She still had many steps to go through before the donation could happen. First, doctors had to know if Nancy was a match for Daryl. Luckily, blood work showed that she was. I was really excited about it, Nancy said. I was ecstatic. The next step was scheduling the procedure, which is when it hit Nancy that it was really happening. But being a match isn't enough. After that, Nancy underwent months of testing as well as counseling. Transplants are serious procedures. Doctors needed to confirm she was ready to donate, both physically as well as emotionally. After months of testing and preparation, Bleur had news for Peterson. Everything was ready to go. He looked stunned at first, Nancy said. It took a minute to sink in, but then he hugged me and I knew, okay, he gets it. Daryl did his best to thank Nancy. The day he found out, I said, "We're on. It's a go," said Nancy. Then he came over and hugged me and said, "Oh my gosh." He even brought her flowers. Here was Daryl and his son with a dozen huge roses, and I'm crying, but of course it was very nice, she said. The two went in for their procedures on June 1st of 2017. The procedures were performed at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics. A team of talented doctors, nurses, and surgeons made it happen. After a week, the two were cleared to go home. Peterson is very grateful to the staff who made these procedures possible. "I cannot speak enough about the surgeons, the nurses, and the staff," Daryl said. "Just such a positive and supportive environment. You could tell that every person wanted to be there for you." But most of all, Daryl is grateful to the woman who made it all possible. He's still not sure how to put it into words. "How do you ever thank someone for saving your life?" he asked. "It's an unbelievable gift. It's just amazing. There are people waiting every day for a kidney, for an organ in general. I wish there were more people like her. She's given me a second chance at life," Daryl said. Camden also understands what this gesture means. He said, "You're going to make my daddy better and live a long time," Nancy said. "That just melts your heart." Thanks to his teacher, Camden can go to school unburdened with worrying about his father's health. Nancy's gift is one that will stay with Daryl and Camden for years. It was a very cool response, and it's good to know that I'll be able to go to Camden's high school graduation one day and talk about this and think, "Well, that was crazy," she said. Nancy has given father and son something truly precious. Peterson hopes that by sharing his story, he can raise awareness for organ donation. Currently, there are 93,000 people waiting for a kidney transplant. For some, the wait will be more than 10 years.